On program.
Last week we did something different on the show. It was a lot of fun. We tried something new. We tried our first and definitely not the last Star Wars on program fantasy draft, and that was of Jedi. So we all drafted our Jedi councils, and so I wanted to take the time to kind of go over those, as would a sports analyst, right? Talk about the draft, and of course, we're going to be biased to our list, but we can talk a little bit about what happened and kind of just summarize it for those who weren't there and get people excited for the Darksiders and the droids and the clones and all the other things we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks/months. So this is my list.
Garbage.
Yeah, crap.
Oh.
Mega crap. I'm exceedingly proud of this. I was very pleased with how the draft went. Again, looking back, like there were some I would have subbed out, Keller and Beck particularly, for somebody else in the High Republic, maybe a Stellan or a Porter. But honestly, I don't know. Maybe Indara could have been dropped if there was somebody else better that was sitting around. I have very little that I wish that I could have done here. I think like some of the sleeper picks, like Satil Shan. I went back and rewatched those Old Republic shows, like those little cinematics. Man, stuff hits. And reading those books, she's great. And no one's gonna read the Bane books, but man, Hoth is amazing. Jaina needs no introduction. Odan that was the fun thing looking through these lists. A lot of these folks are canon. It was really, really cool. Odan was recanonized in the Secrets of the Jedi source book. So he was actually one of the Jedi that formalized the Jedi code in Legends. So he had a lot to do, and he was like the sort of like Library of Alexandria. He made that, but it was on Ossus, and it wasn't. It was galactic instead of just one measly planet of Earth. What do you guys think? Was there anybody that I stole from you, or how do you feel about this list? I'll start with Andy.
I was actually going to say I love your list because it didn't step on anybody that I wanted. It was perfect. I respect your list.
Michael.
I think you really benefited from being at the end, actually, even though I think it's because you didn't have competition for the characters that you really wanted. And then by the time it got to your turn, you got those double taps almost every time, or every time you got to double pick. And I think that really helped you out, because I think you might have had to fight over Mace Windu and Obi-Wan, maybe more, maybe even Keller and Beck a little bit more. But at the same time, like I said, you didn't really have any competition at all for Revan, Mara Jade, Bastila.
See, I don't know
a
if
lot
that's
of these
true.
heavy hitters. And also jokingly, I had said before the show, I was joking about knowing I was going before you and just picking all the characters I knew you were going to pick just to screw with you. And I other than maybe Obi-Wan, I think I would have picked probably 95% of your list accurately if I could have. Not to say that you're predictable or anything, but especially that top row, I'm just like, yeah, this is Ed. This is Ed's favorite.
Yeah.
I probably would have subbed out like Obi-Wan for Plo Koon and maybe moved him towards the end of that row, but still not at all shocked with your list. I think you have a solid list. It's very you. Again, I think you just didn't have to compete nearly as much. The Obi-Wan was really the surprising one for me, though. I know you picked him because of his power and balance and everything, but I just wouldn't have clocked him as very high on your list of favorites.
I actually really, really like Obi-Wan. I always one of my phrases that I always come back to is we like a thing that knows what it is, right? And Obi-Wan is like just the pinnacle of self-awareness. He is not always perfect, and he has many a flaw. But I think his intent is pure as the driven snow, and his consistency to his ideals, or at least he tries very hard to do so. I really, really like what Obi-Wan tries to be, and what he brings to the table. So, yeah, and as a duelist, I had to get him in there as well. And to everybody's point, like he would have gone off the board very quickly.
Yep.
So like
I was shocked
Mikey
he didn't
D.
go in the first round. And
yeah.
I probably had Luke, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Dooku were probably my top 4, period. Um, maybe Dooku, I don't know. But like those guys were my top, and because I couldn't pick them, I ended up going with Dooku just because, again, the context we started talking about at council. I was like, okay, well, I think Dooku's kind of a dark horse here, and I think I'll get some of the other ones I'm thinking about. But yeah, I would have picked Obi-Wan very quickly, and Luke as well. But again, Luke was already gone, so
Yeah, it was. I came in with a list of, I think it was 8, because I knew I was going to have the snake, double pick there. So I was like, hey, let's see who gets picked out of this list, and no matter what, the best player available is gonna top my list, and that had to be Revan. Like there was just no competition when Luke went off the board. It was Revan. And then after that, I was like, that was a toss up between Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, some of the others, but I went Obi-Wan, and I
if I
didn't
had
look
picked
back.
Revan again, just to screw with you, would you have
hmm
picked Obi-Wan next, or would you have picked Dooku, or would you just have ended up with Obi-Wan as your first pick?
I would have probably skipped Dooku. I think I'm fairly confident. I probably
Yeah,
would have just moved down and got Obi-Wan and Mace Windu. I'm trying to remember everybody's round 2.
I think I was right
Uh,
before you, so the only
I
person who
would
would
have
have
got
taken
Anakin. I
out
would have got
of
Anakin. Yeah, for sure. If
well, I mean
I
in
would have
first round,
gotten
because if I had taken, oh, you would have taken Anakin as your first pick
yeah, well, I would have
because he
done
would have been
if you had
available.
if you had taken Revan, I would have
Mhm.
definitely not taken Dooku. I would have taken Obi-Wan and
Right.
Anakin probably as 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then moved on from there. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken Cal. I wouldn't have taken I don't think anybody's Ahsoka would have been on the radar, but I probably wouldn't have taken her. That was so much fun, guys. Like this was probably the most fun I've ever had doing a Star War. Like I can't wait to do more of these. Admittedly, droids and Darksiders are not going to have 12 because there's just not that many. But to
I'm
everybody's
still hyped for
point,
Clone Troopers.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a very, very good one. Strike team was a 4 in a squad, right? Your ultimate squad. That would have been great, and it will be. Yeah, really, really loved this. Had a lot of fun.
Gosh.
And
The fun, sorry.
go ahead. No, yeah.
It's just the funny part for me is that my favorite, thank you, Andrew.
Please smash like.
My favorite parts about Star Wars are not even Jedi. I was realizing that as I was making these lists, and like how a lot of my favorite Jedi are not at all times even Jedi. And I think Travis left a comment about how my characters are sort of, I don't know exactly what he said.
I'll find
I
it.
see
You
where,
keep talking.
yeah, older Jedi who are ambiguous emotionally or struggle with the dark side. And for sure, because I
Okay, you
find those
found it.
characters more relatable. And but yeah, my favorite parts of Star Wars aren't even necessarily Jedi, like the Mandalorians and the clones and those other types of characters call to me more. But
Bounty
Yeah, I feel
hunters.
like
That's a good list. We got to do that too. We're putting together a job. Get your ultimate crew. That's
it's like
great.
I was salty when my Jedi pick got stolen. I would be so salty if my clone picks got stolen.
I I can't agree with you. I swear Jedi are one of the main reasons I love Star Wars. This is my happy place. Every single Jedi, I want to know all about them. I wanted all the backstory. So this was my
you've
happy
got a
place.
good,
Darksider is
I was
also
to say,
that
you've
way.
got
Go
a
ahead,
pretty
Michael.
healthy list of challenged Jedi here too, though. You've got Revan, you got Mace Windu, you got Mara Jade, you've got Gianna. I think she counts as that list. Indara potentially. Yeah, like you you've
Yes.
you've got some Bastila, definitely some dark side
Bastila.
influence and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Bastila.
you got a lot of stuff. Like 50%. It's interesting. I'm with Andy on this because I love the Jedi, and I do think without the Jedi, Star Wars would not have the draw it does.
Yeah.
But and you'll think this is weird too, Ed, because I'm often on the side of not liking the stories that tend to put the Jedi as a whole in a darker light, that show the system and the order as being flawed and corrupted and all that. But I love all of those characters, right? I love the characters that are the exceptions to the rules. I love the characters that are like fighting against the goads of the Jedi Order. So I less less enjoy seeing the system itself as broken and more looking at the broken people in the system that
It's
are
so
doing their own
funny.
thing. And yeah, it's interesting, right? Because if you look at my list is, especially
Maybe
if I get all the
Yeah.
people that I wanted, there are a lot of challenged characters in there too.
And I
You're
feel like
like
Yeah.
a reverse. You're a reverse Balin. You're like, I hate the idea of it, but I love the weakness. Oh,
no,
sorry,
I
Andy. I
think
stepped on you to make that joke. I'm
that's
sorry. Go
okay.
ahead.
No, that was worth it. That was funny. It's just I feel like those characters is how they tell that story, and it is how they paint that picture is with the characters that we can connect to. And I love your picks. Like Dooku, I would have picked not first round or quite as high, but I would have wanted him too. I love the Tales of the Jedi story with him and Qui Gon, and yeah, a lot of your other picks.
100%. 100%. There's some great stuff. I wanted to add a couple of chats here. Travis says, surprise, nobody trolled and picked Luke. And listen, I like I said, we did there was a whole pool of people to choose from, right? Sort of like a draft board, right? And Luke, Jerus, Sabayoth, they were all there. They were all there. So that could have totally happened. Yeah, 100%. And Travis also says that the Jedi are his favorite part of Star Wars. It's partially how out of this world a character can be, yet so relatable. 100%, man. Couldn't agree with you
And
more.
towards the end, when I was running out of ideas, I almost picked Travis for the meme.
Yes. There was a Jedi named Travis, and that made us all very happy because we love you, Travis, and we're always glad you're here. Okay, Reba chimed in here, said reround to watch y'all's review of my draft picks. To be fair, by the time we got to round 11, there were 50 Jedi on the board. I was running out of ideas. Fair enough. And look, that's what we were saying. If Taylor and Eric had been there, this would have been a lot shorter because they would have been hammering for these Legends Jedi, and I would have had a lot more competition. So there would have been like Luke might have gotten picked, Jerua Sabayoth might have been picked as well. Travis comes in off the top rope and says least favorite part of Star Wars. Okay. Withdrawn back. All right. Well, hey, I still feel that way.
On program.
Wow, what a conversation that was. I'm glad I found this. Apparently this is just a clip from a larger show that's live every Friday night. I don't know about you, but I'm going to subscribe so I can see more videos like this one. Hey, let's both like this video, to boost it in the algorithm, and then we can ring the bell so we won't miss the next one.
Good job.